let me very quickly set the context for this. So how are we looking at cyber resilience, integrating cloud strategies? So, I think a lot of common themes and overlaps that have kind of happened during this conference, and rightfully so, because I think some of these things do overlap. In this discussion, what we're trying to achieve is how are we trying to distinguish the changing face of cyber security and moving to cyber risk as such, and what's the distinction we're making, and how are we looking at it in the changing face of the world of IoT, in the world of digital social media, and in the world of multi-cloud. So very quickly, let me open this with Vijay. Vijay, just a quick comment from you. So we do know that you are, spearheading a vast legacy which has moved into the new age. So I'm very sure you have stories that have transitioned, right? Because the railways is a very old body, and you're heading the IT of that, the centralized IT. So what's the journey been like in the multi-cloud world, as you moved and shifted? Was there a bit of caution when you approached cloud? A, and B, how does cyber risk, how would you define the changing phase of cyber security and integrate it into the world of cyber risk? As in, what has changed? Is it just a definition? Is it just the way we are thinking? Is it a mindset change? So your take on this, very briefly.
Yeah, good afternoon. I am not responsible for the delay in this session. We were much earlier and all. But I will also commend the editors and of ETCISO that they are doing a very good job with such a hardcore technical subject where everybody is an expert here, and you being not from that area, but still you are doing a good job. But considering the clock is ticking, I will stick to my brief is that cloud and resilience. On cloud, being from the government department, as you rightly guessed, the old habits die hard. Despite cloud making so much of advancements and so much of security tools, etc., wrapping around, the thinking in government is changing, but it changes slowly. So we have to be patient that slowly and slowly the senior people, as the cyber aware lower people go up in the hierarchy, the perceptions will change. They will adapt to cloud much more. Now coming to resilience part, I feel that the future is in the cloud. There's no doubt about it. We may have our primaries or whatever the so-called confidential data, etc., in our premises. But for resilience, true resilience, we have to look at the cloud now or in near future. Because building and maintaining high availability data centers itself is a specialist job, which we can't do. And with governmental procedures of procurement and all, it is even more difficult. So my advice, in short, to all government, CISOs is that please don't listen to your business and all that who are saying, nahi, koi data bahar nahi jayega, yahi rahega, It is a sure recipe for disaster, as has happened in AIMS incident also. You should go to cloud for your backup needs with ransomware protection and whatever all protections available. Take them judiciously, not increase your cost too much, but you should have an alternative place where your business critical data should be available in the time of extreme crisis, like what happened in case of a medical system. That's my opening comment.
Sure, that was quite candid, and given that you do come from a difficult space, because for the sheer fact that it carries decades of legacy, you know. So transitions are actually quite far more challenging than in any other industry. So thanks for that, Vijay. Thanks so much for that candid opening. Let me move to you, Venkatesh, very quickly. So, cyber resilience is basically all about safeguarding the digital organization, and it's about reinventing, looking at reimagining the whole idea of cyber security. So, how has your journey been? I think you're a relatively newer, you come from a new, though the group is old, I think you come from the technology side and the services side of the group, the larger group. So I'm presuming again that you possibly have a shared services model also at some level, A. And B, how has it been from your standpoint to go to the board with a very strong cyber resilience business case? How are you putting it forward to them? And C, how has navigating your cloud strategies? I mean, what's your positioning on cloud? You can give a high-level answer on that. Easy, difficult, hits, misses. So I'm asking you through 2 or 3 larger questions. Quick comments.
The first thing is my personal take is that while this word resilience itself, and this has come up in the last 3-4 years, it's come up a lot.
Like a lot of jargon.
A lot of this jargon has come up. The main reason is because a lot of cases we feel that a breach is inevitable, and that is the reason why we have to focus on resilience. But my 2 cents on this is that I think, and that's my point of view, is that while we talk about resilience and being prepared, etc., I think as a CISO community, we should not lose focus on prevention. Because our first, while I've heard of saying that prevention may be impossible, etc., but doing basic due diligence, having right visibility into your environment, making sure that you have got basic hygiene products in place, across your asset base, is extremely critical, and then kind of monitoring it to make sure you're getting best value out of it. So sometimes we kind of overhype this thing around, oh, now it's all about preparedness, response, recovery and all, and prevention. But the game is that's the old age saying that, prevention is better than cure, right? It is true for cybersecurity also. So basic due diligence regarding prevention, I think we should not lose focus. So that is extremely critical. From a resilience perspective, it is important, to be able to plan and prepare for it. So, which is very important that you have a good. So, if something does happen, we have to be prepared for it. So the planning for it, the preparation for it, the testing for it, all these are extremely important. I'm not kind of downplaying that. So that is our second role as CISOs, to make sure that we do this tabletops, etc., with senior management. Because say tomorrow, if there is a breach in your organization, right? Say there is a ransomware attack. Do you pay ransom or not? Who decides? Is it CISOs not deciding, right? Somebody at a very senior level, based on certain criteria, will have to decide that. So you will have to agree upon that, with those management, and that is what these tabletop exercises, etc., will make them aware that, if these things happen. So that preparation is extremely critical. So I think that is something which we should definitely do. So that's my first 2 cents, on cyber resilience versus prevention. Now, regarding board itself, I think you were wanting to know how the board would like us to be prepared. So the board, in fact, whenever we have had this conversation with our board. The board is basically, they will ask, the board is they are very good at risk analysis and management. See, that is what their core strength is. Based on that, they guide management. They then advise management, they see areas of gaps, and then they do it. So the kind of things which I have had my board ask me is about in cyber resilience is basically have I planned for it, right? So have I planned for it? And I think in the earlier panel also somebody, I think Uday mentioned about measuring. So they ask questions how do you measure effectiveness of it? Have you tested your plans? Do you have budgets for it? And also sometimes they also want to know, if you have a plan, have you validated that also with another expert? Because it should not be that your Gyan is the best, and then you feel that this is the best cyber resilience plan. So these are some of the things boards normally kind of ask us also.
Sure. So as far as your cloud journey goes at a high level, what's your positioning
So
on
cloud journey is very similar. So we are a cloud first. I mean, so right now everything is starting like, in the cloud. My only 2 cents there is that, absolutely it should be a cloud, it should be cloud first. But I think that unless it is back to back, there is care and diligence when we are moving to the cloud. Otherwise, if you mindlessly move to the cloud, thinking cloud first, it's a recipe for disaster. Because cloud, fundamentally, you can just, by a software-defined technology, you can make everything public, and then your exposure is multi-times. So my big fear always is that, is my IT team like, do we have the right policies actually configured so that, I'm not having any exposure? So absolutely, cloud first is there, but unless it is completely back to back with kind of full posture management, and then policies for enforcement, right? It's not just, you have to have policies like, you cannot like, make any resource like, public. That is like, when you create a Terraform script, basically the script itself should dictate that, it cannot be made public. So these are some of the things like, that we should do security back to back, like, as you do the cloud journey.
Excellent point. I think that's very well stated, and we've been hearing this from CISOs across the board, right, in closed room sessions as well as here on stage, that, you have to be looking at security not in silos, but end to end, and, it should flow as an input. What you throw in and comes out into, at each layer counts and matters. So thanks for that, Venkatesh. Nikhil, I'll call you in at this stage. You heard Vijay and you heard Venkatesh as well. So what have your customer conversations been as far as navigating the multi-cloud world goes? How are we integrating cyber risk and cyber security and resilience into this?
So from our perspective, cloud is basically an architecture. It's not a product. It's not a platform. It's an architecture where the customers are moving. And when we talk about cybersecurity with respect to multi-cloud, I think we need to change some of the basic parameters. Like in the past, we have been buying cybersecurity as a product. I think the moment we start moving to cloud, we need to buy cybersecurity as an outcome, not as a product. Irrespective of the 600 features all of us have, and it's very confusing here. Even if I go out, almost all of us are speaking the same thing. It is very important for the organization to understand what is the outcome you want from the product, right? So I think the first and foremost thing from a platform perspective is that it has to be flexible because every customer will move to different clouds. So you should not have platforms that are proprietary in nature because that will give flexibility. Customer one in year one would be in cloud one, then move to cloud two. So flexibility is the first part. Second thing, simplifying the entire problem, because I think CISOs are having the most difficult job on earth today. How we can simplify things for them, right? So customize templates depending on the industry standard so that they can quickly adopt that and then take it to stage 2 or stage 3. But it shouldn't be a case that you have to go through all the parameters so that we can deploy things faster. And last but not the least, I think the entire discussion and criteria when we talk about product should be that it should be looked at as a service. Cybersecurity should not be looked at as a product. When we start looking things at a service, then we are only bothered about the implementation. And in the earlier world, we would see that the product got deployed by physically looking at the product. But in these days, you don't look at the product, right? So what do you look at? Look at the outcome. Once the product is live, has your KRAs changed or not? And it depends from business to business. It could be customer experience as in KRA. It could be the number of connections. It could be automated connection which your device is dropping. And the last thing which is very important is when we are preparing to something, I think cyber security has 3 pillars like product, people, and processes. How good are your processes? At what frequency you are doing a drill? It could be any drill. You can attack your own system and see. You can do a DC-DR drill. You have all the system in place. Why are you waiting for a disaster to happen to check? So I think that is the last thing which I would like to add.
Sure, great. I think we're almost running short on time here. Vijay, just one word on what is your cyber resilience priority for 2023? In one word, if you can sum it up.
One word?
Yes, or one line. Whatever you're comfortable with.
Simplify. As he said, it is very difficult to, make your business understand all these jargon, technical things, how securely move to cloud and all that. So I simply tell them, my own experience is that you have to keep your minimal business continuity data on somewhere else. That somewhere else can be a cloud, can be a sister organization, can be anywhere, but it should be in readable format. That is comes the drill, etc. Readable format when your business can use it even for their manual operations. Because I cannot bring up a cloud or in on-premise system immediately to provide him BCP. But if my data is available, at least using the past data, our people at field can continue the business forward. That's what.
Sure. So simplify. So what would your one word be, Venkatesh?
Simplify definitely, but my big focus area, like for 2023, is going to be factory systems. We manage close to about 100 factories across the Olam group, and we have not paid attention to the cyber resilience of factories. So factory security and resilience is top priority for me, along of course with cloud.
Excellent, excellent. So great. Thanks much. I think in the interest of time, we will call this discussion to a close. Thanks much for giving us your views.